We live, baby.
All right, let's get it. Hey, episode 2, wrong time, right place, right here, right now. You know what it is. E Money
What it
time. My
do,
bo- my boy
baby?
Big Rocker right here.
Yep. We in the building. Man, it's about to have a good episode two. Thank y'all everybody for rocking with us on this noon Friday. TGIF. Hope everybody's getting ready for the weekend. Have a great weekend, man. We got a great show ready for y'all, man. Um, what we got today, Idris?
Today, what we gonna talk about? Something in our current timeline. We're gonna talk about voting. The importance of voting.
And I know everybody been hearing about voting, and everybody getting the same papers in the mail, the same phone calls on their phone. But we not here to get on our soapbox and tell you who to vote for. We just try to tell y'all why it's important, and why we need to go out and make your voice heard.
Right.
And
We're gonna do this in the least political way possible. Like you said, we're not here to tell you who to vote for. We're just going to tell you why it's important, things like that. But before we do that, we do want to say, appreciate all the feedback we've heard from our last show and everybody who's coming out to support. Appreciate everybody doing that. S-
absolutely,
some of the feedback we had was to change our time, so we didn't want to change it up on this one, but in the next coming weeks we're gonna change it. Over the weekend we're gonna have a Saturday at noon show. People said that noon time is okay, but maybe if it was on the weekend it'd be better because they have time restraints at work, things like that. And other than that, we're gonna go with another time as well. So we're gonna switch it 1 week on, 1 week off. The next week after that, we're gonna do Friday at 6 p.m. To hopefully reach different audiences, get everybody in there being able to support. Once again, like I said, just thanks for everybody for the feedback. We appreciate all the support. Um,
yeah.
a lot of positive stuff in there. Another thing, if you could do it, make sure you hit that bell button on my page for my Twitch to get notified whenever we do go live, so you can hit us on here, be interactive in that chat. I think it's something real special, and a lot of the feedback we got was that everybody appreciated the live activity that we had in there. So we want to keep that going.
Facts. We love to hear from you guys. We love to know what you guys are thinking. If you're feeling the topics, if you agree, disagree, what do you think? I want to give a big shout out to my man Sponge Cody in the here, host of the chat. Uh, I want to thank everybody for watching last week's episode. We had a really good discussion on real friends. So if you guys want to go check that out, it's on YouTube. We'll have the link in the description. And we're ready for a good episode two, and a good discussion about voting. So I think you just dive in.
Yeah, diving right in. Voting is something that's super important. It's a way that your voice can be heard, and we're not just talking about just because of this upcoming election, but we think it's important to be involved in your community on those local scales as well. You know, being involved and having your voice heard is something super important. And you have to think of the total spectrum on things because there's a lot that people have given up for us to have the right to vote, you know, being so easy and so open on that. Am I right?
Hey, if you can see me right now, I'm snapping. Because everybody, I agree 100%. Um, the local elections, and I'm guilty of it too. And I know a lot of us are guilty of it, like not paying attention. When does it come around? But it's not just the president, and this is kind of why we want to even dive into the importance of voting, because the people we elect are the people that may be the president in like 10 years. We don't like these candidates that are a lot. I hear that a lot. We don't like the two candidates. I'm not going to vote. Well, these people are the people that we elected as senators and politicians that rise through the ranks. So it may not seem important, but these local elections may end up being the leaders of the country tomorrow, and they affect what we do on the day to day. So just be informed and be knowledgeable, and that's something that I'm personally just getting started doing myself. So don't feel bad if you're not, but just realize like it is important. These people, the people that we elect.
Right, and sometimes it's not always about the outcome. Your candidate may win, may not win, but it's about being involved and being a part of something that's bigger than yourself as well. You know, a lot of
Facts.
people have given up a lot of things for us to have the right to vote. There's a lot of countries who don't have that right. You know, it's not a democracy. You can't just vote. Some people don't have that choice. There's a lot of people who fought and died for us to have that right, and it's about being a part of something bigger than yourself. You know, I voted here 2 days ago, early voting, and um, just standing out in line, I didn't feel any disdain for anybody. I knew that some people were voting one way, some people were voting the other way, some people you don't know, but just that sense of patriotism that you can gain from that situation, and the sense of being a part of something, like I said, bigger than yourself.
Historical context, man. A lot of people, you know, died for having the right to vote. Even going back to the foundation of this country, the Revolutionary War. A lot of people died. Then not everybody still had the right to vote. Black people couldn't vote, women couldn't vote, minorities couldn't vote. Then, that years gone on and people fought for that. And there's a reason that people were willing to die and fight for that right, because it is important. And a lot of times we think, these politicians, they work for themselves, but the way the system is supposed to work is they work for us, the people. They're supposed to represent us. So just keep that in mind when you're going into the booth, and if you're on the fence about voting, and you feel like your vote doesn't matter, it really does, and it's a chance. Even like you said, it's not about who's winning. It's about just making your voice heard in a statement. So going into that, I want to ask you a question, Idris, because a lot of people say this when you don't vote, or if you don't vote, or if you vote for like a third party candidate, you're wasting your vote. What do you think of that?
I think there is a lot of things that is wrong with the current system that we have, being that it's so predominantly driven by two parties. I think it unfortunately some people do get lost in the fray. Those third parties, independent, Green Party, things like that, they do get lost in between those lines. But um, if that's something that you truly believe, you do want to still make your impact in that region. And sure, maybe they might not win, but you still
We
want to be able
live,
to.
baby.
I appreciate the follow JG. But yeah, you still want your voice to be heard, and that's how changes are made. I hear that example all the time actually. So thank you for bringing that up. Where some people say like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
my vote doesn't matter because this state's outcome is already determined by the electoral college and things like that. But the detriment on the opposite side of you deciding not to vote is actually massive, because yes, there may be some systems that are outdated and don't work very well any longer, but as a collective, if everybody voted, there would be changes made, hopefully anyway, as opposed to just succumbing to the our current processes. If everybody was like, no, I'm just not gonna vote and whatever, it doesn't matter,
Mm-hmm.
then it doesn't leave any room for change because nobody
Facts.
recognizes the problem, you know.
And and to touch in on that, I think that it's in itself is the problem, and that's how the system wins. If you just give up on me, and I don't want to vote, now the same practices are going to be in place. But let's, for example, yeah, this is an extreme view, but what if like California, everybody knows it's predominantly blue. It goes if a majority of people vote Republican and the electoral college still says, you know what, screw you guys, and we're going to vote blue anyway because that's where we're getting funding from. That Even that is a good thing because now we're highlighting the issues and we're bringing it to the forefront. I think sometimes when we think of change, we think of it in the context of soon, but change is not something that happens right away or overnight. It takes years and years of pounding down the doors and eventually, making that impact. So I encourage people, don't lose faith in your vote and what it means.
Absolutely. What do you guys think? The people that are
Yeah.
listening and watching right now, do you guys think your vote matters? Are you guys apt to voting, or you guys skipped before?
Yeah, boy.
Appreciate the sub, JGLXYZ, real ones. What
Shouts
up?
out to JG. That's my dog. Just getting back from California.
And I know this is something I've talked to you about, but I just want to know, what do you think? I know in young people, they typically say that young people have a problem with voting. I think it's an American problem, voter registration, things like that. There are many issues that play into it, but I think just looking at the raw numbers, it's pretty insane. Do you know the numbers off the top of your head of people who vote, people who haven't voted, things like that?
No, but give me 1 second. I can get that for you. But I will say, off the top of my head, the young people voting. I think it comes back into one, a lot of people, young people, don't feel inspired by candidates. Two, they're unaffected by the policies or not. Uh, and well versed enough to even like have a strong enough opinion. Three, I think like I said, a lot of these candidates don't really relate to young people. Like, and I'm not. This is not racial. This is just a fact. We have two old white men as candidates.
Yeah,
That is not really a representation of current America, and I think a lot of it is just not really believing in in the candidates that are in place, and it's not inspiring. Now, I'll say, hey, that's not a. I understand that. Trust me. I'm very much. These are not my ideal choices as well, but I still think that it's important to go out and even if you don't really believe in everything the candidate says, find something that benefits you and relates to you the most because and also spark that change like you said at the local level to get candidates that represent you and that starts with like you said from just the lower level up. What up,
yeah,
Toxic Henry? Shouts out. I'm feeling the love, support. Thank you for commenting. I just wanted to throw that in there.
yeah, yeah. I think it is a little bit embarrassing the last two elections. Being a millennial, I think it's definitely embarrassing that
Hmm.
this is the best two candidates that we could come up with, or the two candidates that we made it out, for the primary voters. I think it is very embarrassing, and I've been one to say I think personally people in our generation are like kind of the superhumans, kind of. We have like the right work ethic and we have the right understanding of technology total. So I think putting those mixed together, we have a good understanding of moral and social values of what we need to do in the future. So it is a little bit crazy that a lot of our politics, things like that, a lot of our legislation is all made by people of old age, even though it's kind of a new generation, a new era. We're kind of like the alpha males of the thing, but yet we have all these older people still creating our laws. People who have these old school mentalities, things like that, still creating our legislation, our rules, our day-to-day life. And that's a little bit crazy to me.
Yeah, and of course, like we understand, old people. I mean, we're not. There's older people in the country. Like we're not. Not everyone's young, but with that being said, I think finding that balance is very much key. And it just seems like a lot of the mainstream politicians that we see on TV that go to these debates are very much out of touch with the real problems of the common everyday man or everyday woman. So finding, balance within parties too. Like these parties, even if there are two older men, should we have younger people around them, giving them different perspective, different people of different backgrounds, different cultures, to broaden perspective to better the people. And I understand the frustration with that, with why young people don't feel inspired to vote. They don't believe in the system, but that is how the system wins by us not believing in it. And that's why I think even though the importance of voting, that if everybody goes out to the polls and makes their voices heard, they have no choice but to listen to us. But right now, young people, and this is historically, we just don't vote, and that's why we're feeling disenfranchised. They don't listen to us because we're not going to vote anyway. So why are they going to try to appease the people? Politicians care about votes at the end of the day. They care about getting in office. So if we go out and we make our voice heard, our statement, now we're going to start getting more of the things that we want done. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree. And just to what we were talking about a little bit earlier, those numbers these are just the numbers of the last election. Hillary Clinton won the popular vote with 66 million votes. Donald Trump has 60 million votes.
Ooh,
And but Electoral College, Donald Trump won that way. But the most baffling number of those is there was 107 million people that didn't vote at all. Registered,
that's
qualified voters just didn't come out and vote. And that plays exactly to what you're talking about. Like it's a disservice not only to America and the people who fought for your right to vote, but for the system. There cannot be change made unless you decide to participate in that and show that there's a real example of the system being broken. you know. But if you're just
right.
complacent in that kind of quote unquote loser mentality of like, oh, it's never gonna happen for me, it's never gonna happen, there's no point, no change will ever come of that. I don't think anybody has created massive change in any life with that mentality. Um, and that kind of goes into like our segue of what we want to talk about just beyond voting. Voting is important, so we wanted to make sure to display that. But um, all in all, the big message with why we want you to like go out and vote is we want you to pay it forward. Paying it forward is
Facts.
is is super important. Like life is bigger than just yourself. And if you've been fortunate enough to find yourself in those positions to be able to pay it forward, that's something super important. So could you explain what paying it forward means?
Well, to me, paying it forward means like when I hear pay it forward, and it's a term I've been getting ingrained in me for like the last few years, and it finally clicked. It's just being a blessing, like to that others, the people that helped you, the people that have gotten you along, the people that maybe your mentors or in a field that you like that have inspired you and the knowledge you've obtained, passing that along to the next person and standing up for what you believe in and not just and going out and actually practicing what you preach and doing what you feel is right to better society. And that's what paying forward. When I hear it, that's what it means to me.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to be able to, like I said, be bigger than just yourself. Life is difficult. It can drag you down at times, and you never know that symbol of light that you can be for somebody else.
And I
And
think even not to cut you off, I'm sorry, but that could be hard for people to think beyond oneself. To put yourself in someone else's shoes or think beyond just your personal gain.
definitely, I think you have to take in consideration like the expectations of life and what you have expectations of your life. Because a lot of people don't have it figured out. No, and I'm not gonna say I have it figured out either, because there's a lot going on. Um, but I think the bare minimum is kind of to pay it forward. You know,
Right.
humanity itself, like we're going back to it, humanity first. Humanity itself has always progressed, and it's never been one to progress on its own. It's needed help and desire from other people and ambition to do so. Like we were just talking about, nothing great has ever been accomplished by someone who has that kind of shelled in small mentality. Like you have to realize
And
that life is big and you got to be a part of it.
and as you can follow up on what you're saying, I completely agree. And I think a lot of the times, we when you do things that may be uncomfortable, new, trying to get to pay it forward, you will sometimes be reached with negativity and people that may not even agree with what you're standing for. But I think the most important thing is to focus on the people that do. Don't focus on who's not on board, who doesn't agree, and you will find yourself, finding more purpose out of life. And I like to say, I haven't figured out. You don't. We're still doing these things ourselves, but I think self betterment is a, you know, it's a growth is a nonstop thing. It doesn't stop. You don't ever truly get there. You just paying it forward it's almost like a lifestyle and mentality and I think that you owe it to humanity and society to pass along what you know and pass along what you think will better the human race and better the society that you're a part of.
Yeah, and you typically see that a lot with a small example is just parents. You know, parents always want their children to be better than
Uh,
themselves, and they do so selflessly. And sometimes it doesn't come without difficulty, but that's the most like common example. They do pay it
yeah,
forward. They set their children up for success and things like that. And it is a big difference in what it does for you as well as the person who wants to pay it forward. You know,
facts.
a small example of like you want to allow people to do things for you and you want to allow them to be great in a sense.
Hmm.
Um, you know, at times you have to remember, um, like say you come over to my house, and this situation happens like a trillion times. Like you come over to my house and I offer you like, oh, you want some water, you want something to drink, you want something small, you want anything, and out of your humbleness, you say, no, I'm okay, I'm good. Like it's really not that big a deal, I'm okay. But
Yeah,
right there, you actually just took away that person's like opportunity to do something great for you. They just offered like to be nice to you, to kind of pay it forward to you in a sense, like they want to do something for you, and you just kind of diminish that opportunity from them. So you have to understand on both sides, like someone's doing something great, let them do it. And
you have
also,
to receive that blessing.
right.
And I'm glad you actually use that example because you know I think it's important to say like you know even paying it forward doesn't have to always be changing the world. Doesn't have to be going out and you know starting going being a leader of rallies, and it could actually just start with day to day things that you are doing. Like for me, I make music. I work at a radio station. Me talking to my producers, he's trying to pour knowledge into me to make me better in this field. He's paying it forward. He's like, hey man, yeah, whatever you do, if you have questions, go out and ask me anything. And that goes on what you said. It's up to me now to use um, that to my advantage. Go out and ask these questions and be kind of a sponge. And that's another example of paying it forward. You have to be able to be receptive of blessings of the people in your life that are trying to help you. And also, if now you're in a position like you have a job and another guy comes up, he's just learning and he doesn't know what to do. Instead of looking at it like, this guy may be competition or I have better things to do than to train this person. Offer that hand, offer that help that you had. And like I said, it doesn't always have to be changing the world. It doesn't. That's not what paying it forward applies to. It's like a lifestyle. Um,
Yeah, and it's not always going to be the right time or the right day to do that
mhm.
kind of thing, but it'll have its moments, and you never know what kind of blessing that you can provide for somebody else. Especially nowadays, you know, with coronavirus, there's a lot of people going through a lot of tough times, and just something as simple as reaching out to them.
Facts.
Something as simple as reaching out to them, you know, buying them a cup of coffee, something small, whatever it is, compliment their day, whatever, can be big
All
to
those things
somebody else.
go a long way, man. And I talk to people and they'll say like, yeah, my thank you for that. Your comment, you comment on someone's clothes. I love your outfit today. And it's crazy how much that can actually mean to someone.
Yeah, can make a big difference in just all that overall. Um, and that's why we wanted to tie it back into um, just voting. You know, there's a lot of people who've done a lot of serious things to get to where we are today, and don't let it be a disservice on them and everything in general. But do your civic duty. You know, be a patriot. Go out there, vote, make a difference, not only in the people around you, but in what it is that you want to do. Find yourself and who you want to be, and share that with others unapologetically. Be you, be very, very real,
Yeah,
and share
and I
that.
want to touch on this too. This, in this political climate that we're living in right now, I feel like there's a lot of negativity that we see from both sides of the parties. Like it's a lot of fighting, name calling, and all of that. And and I think it's everybody has a different vision and idea of what they think America should be, or what their country, or how the life should be. So stand up for that and do it out of love. Don't go and chastise a person who may view differently than you. Help them see your point of view without having to look down on someone else's views and beliefs.
Right, right. I know there was that movie way back when. It's actually called Pay It Forward with Kevin Spacey. I think it came out in like the 90s or something.
I
But
love Kevin Spacey.
yeah, Kevin Spacey. But there was a scene in that movie where, yo, what up, Mug? There was a scene in that movie where, um, the movie, if you haven't seen it, it's about a teacher who makes an impact on a child, and a child um, basically like helps this homeless guy that he finds. But in this particular scene, this homeless guy is just starting to get on his feet, like he's starting to feel decent about life, and
Mhm.
he sees a woman basically about to throw herself off a bridge, like commit suicide. Because like we said, we're in tough times, and there's trying times. Mental health is important, and you never know what somebody's
That's
going
deep,
through. But
right?
in this particular scene, this homeless person who's been affected by a little child sees this woman, and he's trying to convince her, like, well, go get a cup of coffee with me, like, do all this, and she's not really listening. But the thing that got to her was he said something um, super serious. He said, uh, "I want you to be the reason that my life is saved." You know,
Ooh,
so
damn.
as much as it's a great opportunity that he is trying to save this woman's life, he is seeking validation in that same form because he is saying, like, let my life be meaningful by allowing me to have this impact on you. He's seeking value in himself at the same time, and it just goes to show, like, even though people may seem perfect in all meets ends, like they're happy, everything's going right for them, you never know. So just be that shining light in somebody's life, and all it takes is one person. That's kind of what we're here for too. Like, we appreciate all the love and support in the chat, and we appreciate everybody coming back, the new people, anybody who it is. Um, but all it takes is that one person that we want to impact. If we can help one person, if we can have an impact on your day positively, that's what it's about for me, right? Um,
My bad, Idris. I got disconnected there for a sec.
it's all right, happens.
But I'm and yeah, sorry about that, everyone. We still episode 2, so bear with us. But no, everything you said was pure facts. I heard everything about the pay it forward, and it just shows like you never know the impact that someone could have on that you're having on someone else, even when you're feeling at the lowest, at your lowest, like at you. And I've been there. I've been this pandemic has been really tough on me, and I found myself being challenged in ways I've never been challenged before, and having to go out. But what kept me going was the faith that the people in my life had in me, and that it wouldn't allow. It kept me going because they told me, they let me know, like, hey man, I'm here for you. I believe in you. Um, I want to see you succeed. And I say if you're in that dark area, or if you know someone in your life that is going through things, let them know that you're there for them, and it goes a long way. Just like that example within that movie, it's a real life example. Like it's not just some movie stuff. That's a You will be surprised at the impact that just being there for someone has.
Yeah, and it's okay to lean on people at times. It's
Hmm.
okay to have those people in your life. Kind of what we were talking about last segment. Real friends. That's what real friends are for. And um, at time, friends can be even like more important than family because they're almost like your chosen family. Some of those relationships and
Right.
bonds that you choose are real important, and it's okay to lean on them from time to time.
And that's why paying it forward is so important because just like how you lean on them, they lean on you, or there's someone that's leaning on you, and being able to just I call it keep that same energy
Keep that
because that's
same
just
energy.
about
Yep. Keep it.
yeah. And it all comes back into like that's why we're so passionate about voting and selection. Me and Idris have been like, as we've been advocates for just a better society. We both believe in humanity, and this and voting. I know a lot of people are discouraged by the candidates, but I say don't let that discouragement beat you and defeat you into not letting your voice be heard, because it does matter.
Right. This was the first year that I actually went to some rallies pre-COVID, when they were doing before they had their um nominees picked and stuff, like Andrew Yang. I went to one of them for Andrew Yang. I went to a couple here in Nevada. And it's the first year I really took it upon myself to be involved in those kind of things. And it's amazing to see the other people with similar types of energy. Um,
Mm,
uh, and you see people of all demographics, old, young, all different races, and
wow.
to see people of all kind of different demographics just looking for great change and positivity. Honestly, it was really amazing. I felt the same thing when I went to go vote. It wasn't even a big thing on who you were voting for, but just the fact that people were there to make a difference was pretty big. I felt that energy definitely.
And that's amazing, and that shows like there's people that will there's people out there that do want to see change, and that's what's encouraging to hear from me, because there's so much negativity out there. There's so much negativity that it can start to consume you, and you can start to believe it. But just know that like in the out there, when you dig deeper, you get past what's on TV, past what's on social media, in the real world, there's people out there really fighting for change, and amazingly of all demographics, all different backgrounds, all different classes of life. So that's really encouraging, Idris.
Yeah, and Magua says he was rooting for Yang. Yeah, I was rooting for Yang. I liked a lot of the ideas he had. We got a question mark from Slam 6000. Don't know who that is and why you're confused, but maybe you could type. Let me know. Oh, he
He said,
hates
"Yeah,
Yang. Okay.
yeah,
Uh,
it sucks. It sucks."
let me finish my point. I thought Yang had some good ideas. I thought he wasn't a complete candidate in a lot of areas, but I thought he did have some good ideas. And I think that's what it's about. He essentially paid it forward. He did his part. He brought his good ideas and moved them forward to somebody else, hopefully picking them up, what's good about him and what's not good about others, kind of being a collective. That's what the human race is about. It's not just about who can be the greatest whatever, but as a collective, what can we do to make something great? Yeah, and he
And
he
it
he was genuine. I did like him as a person.
and yeah, to piggyback off of that, if you think game sucks, like, hey, you're perfectly entitled to feel that way. For me, when I look at these candidates and when I look at Yang and even some other guys, the important thing is, like you said, having ideas that you truly believe in that you truly believe will help the people. And that's what I look for in a candidate, someone who cares about the American people, not Democrat, not Republican, someone that wants to, help help American families. And I got that vibe from Yang. He didn't win, of course. We're at Biden Trump, but um, I think it was nice to see a young, fresh face in politics, and I think that's why Yang was able to connect with so many young people.
Right. Because a lot of us, you know, in the two-party system, there's only so many people that you can choose from in the two-party system.
Mhm.
So it was a good refresher to just see new ideas, and on both ends, and you can slam Yang for whatever, but like he had a similar story to Trump. He has a business background, he has fresh ideas, things like that, and a lot of the things that he was bringing were for the people. Whether you want to say, he didn't have other policies to match, that's fine. Like you're entitled to your own opinion, and things like that. I agree on some of them. I disagree on some of them. But
But I guess
just to
my
see the
thing is,
freshness.
what is the perfect candidate? Because as a president, or as somebody, as a politician, you cannot please everybody. Like that is just, I feel like that is just understated. You're not going to make everyone happy, but the main goal as a president is to serve the people, even the people that don't support you. And you know, like I said, Yang, I felt like, and then just beyond Yang, that's just my politician. Like, what makes a great politician? And you're not gonna please everyone. And I agree with what you're saying. You put any guy on a podium and he will gain followers because he has a voice. Sure, true, that's true, and that's why it's up to us. And it goes back to what we said about paying it forward, speaking up and letting like about these candidates and who's actually looking to better the country for everyone.
Right, having the conversations, and just like you said,
Yeah.
there's no perfect candidate. I agree. Um, you know,
Hmm.
but he grew himself to the point where he could use his platform in a way that he felt was positive for the entire community or the country. And that's what it is, paying it forward.
Right.
And not saying that you have to be a millionaire, billionaire to be able to do something like that, but that was his particular circumstance, and that's what he decided to roll with.
Yeah, and we got a good conversation boiling out in the comments right now. I love the engagement. I agree. My wife, two-party system, it's very outdated, and and I think that's why too. Like if we said it starts at the local level, if we need to start focusing on the politics that affect us on the day to day, and if we locally come together and start voting for third party and get them into government positions, mayor positions, senator positions, that is a really significant step that we could take to eliminating two-party systems. And I know it seems impossible, and and I'm not saying it's going to happen soon, but I think there is a path to where we eliminate two-party systems. It just comes with being more knowledgeable on other candidates and paying attention, not just when it's the presidential election.
Yeah, seems impossible is damn near improbable. The chance of
Yeah.
you doing anything like that is very slim. But me being who I am and who we are, I believe. You know,
Yeah.
and I'm just gonna one up you. You know how you say you're gonna take things on a local level. I'm gonna take it even further. It starts in your own
Mm.
household. It starts with you. It starts with
Facts.
you and your immediate family. You can't change your neighborhood if you can't change your street. You can't change your street if you can't change your household. You can't change your household if you can't change yourself. And it starts it
Yeah.
starts literally on a microscopic level. That
You
that
start,
belief,
yep,
you
you
gotta have that
changing your
belief in you.
community and be a leader in your own community. And I agree 100%. And Slam, I feel you, man. These corporations, they run in the country, bro. I know these billion-dollar corporations are feeding these politicians. That's. I'm pretty sure we've been naive to think otherwise. But
Welcome to capitalism.
also, I don't capitalism. But I think it's also important to understand these corporations need us as well. Like we are workers. Without workers, without people doing the job, these corporations cannot make money. So, and of course, it's a lot deeper and complex than that, and we can get it. We can do a whole episode dedicated to that. But it's important to remember, like that we are important as well. That without us, there is no corporations because we do the work. But I totally agree. The corporations are very much corrupt. Politics are very corrupt right now, and that's why I feel like this election is more of a reason for us to go out and vote and make our voice heard.
I don't think Yang will ever win.
Hmm.
The Democratic Party will never allow him to. Um, and the two-party system will never allow him the platform to be able to win.
Right.
Just responding to what Magua was saying. Ideally, I'd
Oh
like for him to
yeah,
get closer and closer, but I just don't think it'll ever happen, unfortunately.
I, I think we can get to the point where he's is close enough to where it makes an impact though, and that we can get his policies passed.
Oh,
Some of
certainly.
his policies passed.
Certainly, I've seen the things that he's been able to do post running for president. He has his own like little podcast talk show thing that I know he brings people on. He talks about stuff. So he's still making active changes in the community and spreading his ideas. And you see UBI is still being talked about to this day. So it just shows that he did have good things and he's still trying to make those changes so his heart was in the right place. And that's all you can ask
Yeah.
of somebody. If your heart's in the right place and you truly care and you want to make change, what more can you ask of somebody? Those type of people should be uh, commended.
Right. And like I said, I will applaud anybody that uh, stands up for what they believe is right and what they believe is best for everybody, not just themselves or not just people that believe what they believe. That's what I look for me when I'm looking at politicians. I'm looking at genuine. I'm looking at, does this
Mo-
person care? Does this person have innovative ideas
right, morality
and morality,
and
values?
yeah, I agree. Any president can be any party. Um, you know, Joe Biden has shown different things, to make deals with Republicans all the time, and I wouldn't even consider Trump a Republican. Um, I think Trump is just a conservative who the Republicans saw as their best chance of winning at the time, and it is what it is. But you also see the same thing in people, not just with
Mhm.
presidents. You see the same thing in people. I wouldn't consider myself a straight Democrat. I'd more consider myself like a progressive, but there's no progressive particular party, anything like that. So I just find myself aligning with like what you were saying, aligning with candidates and things that are closely matched to my morals and values, um,
And
which happen to be Democratic at the time. But
to reply to the Mangwa, there's such a divide, and Slam too, anti-political. I definitely feel both of that because I think there is a divide, but then I think that it's overblown because on a day-to-day interaction, I meet so many and talk to so many different people that have different political views or different, or we share the same ideas, but maybe lean this way, vote a little different. So I think it's meant to think that we're divided, but we're all closer in the middle than politics want us to believe. I don't think there's a every conservative is a racist, and I don't think every liberal or Democrat is some like hippie or something. I think that there's most people are level headed, logical, in the middle of things, but we just see the extremes of both sides. So I feel you. And anti-political, um, yeah, man. I definitely could feel. I definitely don't blame you. I definitely don't blame you. But I still encourage, even if you are anti-political, like don't lose faith in
yeah, I
what
don't, I don't know,
democracy.
I don't know if I would consider myself anti-political, but I know what I would consider myself. Like I said, I would consider myself pro-human. And un to be pro-human, you need to take part in some of those things. That's what I thought until I started talking to close friends. I agree deep down. I think we're a lot closer than we all think, and realize many people around me do have these insane views. That is crazy. It is eye-opening to see that so many people around me
Mhm.
do have crazy views. Um, but that's okay. If people have crazy views, from old beliefs, new beliefs, whatever, um, it is what it is. You just got to be you. And if your heart's in the right place, like I said, I try to be pro-human. If your heart's in the right place, that's all that matters. You know, changes will be made at some point. You have to believe half glass half full type of mentality. Yeah, anti-mask, all those
Yeah,
people, those things are pretty insane. But
insane.
that's
And
a
I
different
know
topic for a
people
different
like
day.
that, bro. Yeah, and that's yeah, exactly. That's a whole different topic. And I would say like I know exactly what you're saying. People I close with, and I still think are good-hearted people, but their logic or whatever is just not is not adding up. But you know, I think that should not change how you approach life. Don't let that affect how you view the
Maywood
world and
Kid,
all this
what's up,
type of
man?
thing.
Yeah, we're just talking about paying it forward, and if you have the right to vote currently, if you're able to vote, you should go vote. Take part in what you believe is important, and has been a right and a privilege. It is a privilege. There's a lot of
Yeah.
people, like we said, who've sacrificed a lot. Um,
This has been a good show. Though. I like the engagement, Idris. I like everybody. Shouts out to Slam. Shouts out to Marwa for having that conversation in the chat because this is what this show is really about. To be honest.
right, we do appreciate all the chat and talk in there. There is a lot of importance in what we want to do. We want to be able to push those conversations, and we appreciate you, Slam, for coming in here and having those conversations. Because it does take courage to talk about those things. Like you said, there's going to be a lot of people around you who have crazy views, maybe crazy to you, and they might not want to hear what you say, like you said, because some of it is selfish. But having
Mhm.
these conversations are the things that force change, not even force change, but create change. And yeah, we appreciate y'all for being in here.
Yeah. It's been a really good discussion. I think we're pretty much wrapped up on topics for the day. I think we dove into paying it forward, voting. So like if you guys have any comments, questions you want to ask, feel free to do so in the comments. Um we can where can they find us, Idris? Where can they take these conversations even further, more personable?
Yeah. Like I said, we appreciate y'all being in here live on Twitch. If you weren't able to catch the whole thing, I'll definitely post the video up on YouTube. Just hit that About Me button right there on my Twitch and hit that bell as well. Like I said, get notified when we go live so you can be here right from the start. And right there, um, you'll see some other stuff on my About Me, my YouTube channel, where to contact us in case you ever want to talk. Join our Discord too. Our Discord is always talking about these kind of things, and we want to build a community to where we can create more conversations like this. We received a lot of good feedback last time as well. So if there's anything you want us to react to, any videos, any topics, whatever it doesn't have to be politics, it doesn't have to be religion, whatever you want it to be. If it's something funny, if you got music for you to share with us, let us know. Just join that Discord, be a part of our community.
Yeah, facts. That's exactly what it's about, building a community. We have a much lighthearted topics than this. We love sports, we love music, video games. We pretty much like just some normal people that, you know, want to do want to build a community of like-minded people that want to see better. So if that's you and if you really rock what we saying, please join. Um Drew, I know I got my music coming out. So if you guys are into music, you guys want to talk some music, please feel free to hit me up. I'm also on the Discord. You'll find me also on the YouTube. Yeah, we got a
Yeah.
lot of things coming for you guys.
If you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask. Even if it's something personal, whatever, or even if you want to send us a DM too, like you need someone to talk about something personal, you just need someone to listen, or whatever, just let us know. Um,
Yeah,
we're here for you, whatever it may be. Like we said, we appreciate everybody coming out. Some cool ideas we have coming up in the future. We're thinking about doing a giveaway to try to bring attention to our podcast. Simple things like if you can share and follow, stuff like that. Let us know what you think about that. And then, like I said, we're going to think about changing our time. Next week, we're probably going to do either. What time are we doing next week? You could pick.
let's go. Let's go noon. I like noon. Let's keep it Saturday. Let's try Saturday noon next week. We'll do Saturday. See if we
We're
can
going
get
to do
more engagement in here.
Okay, so we're gonna do Saturday at noon for our next podcast, and the week after that will be Friday at 6 p.m. Try to meet those different audiences. Um,
Yeah. And, you know, we might see which one works better and pick one going forward. Right now, like it's still episode 2. We're still figuring it out. So bear with us, but we're just trying to make it as interactive as possible for our audience. Thank you guys for coming in on today. It really means the world. But yeah, thank you for rocking with us, man.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. That's episode 2. Wrong time, right place. Big Rock and E Money. Appreciate y'all being here. That's gonna do it for this show. I'm probably still gonna be on for a little bit. Maybe play some games or something. If y'all want to play, hit me up. Do what it is. But other than that, thank y'all so much.
Peace.
Salute.